So I know I'm probably quite late to this news, but I still thought that it's alright if I went over this news and just gave my own thoughts. Now this video was meant to be made like a few months ago when all of this happened, but I just forgot to make it and it just went unnoticed, and now I thought it was as good of a time as ever that I could get to make this kind of video and give my own thoughts on this. Now, as a lot of you guys might have heard, Nvidia fully cancelled all support for the GTX 10 series and 16 series cards. And when I heard these news, I was petrified, to say the least. I was absolutely petrified, to say the least. This is so bad. And I mean, I can sorta understand where Nvidia is coming from, but at the same time, why? Just why? Like, sure, gamers can still game on these graphics cards even without driver updates or proper support, as Linus Tech Tips proved in one of his videos, but support for these cards, so mainly driver and tech support and all these other kinds of support for these cards, is so crucial because it keeps these legendary cards running as best as possible for as long as possible. And I feel like Nvidia cancelling these cards right after their absolutely enormous fail that is the 50 series cards is just insane to me, in my opinion. Like, the ending, like the timing could not have been worse. Now, I get it. A lot of you guys might say, oh yeah, but you know, those GTX 10 series and 16 series cards, you know, they were quite old. And yeah, that's right, you know, I completely agree with that. Those cards were very old, and it was about time that, you know, Nvidia started to slow down on support with them, because I mean, of course, no company would be able to actually support them forever. But at the same time, I just can't understand, I can't comprehend why you would go out of your way to cancel such a legendary series of graphics cards. You have the GTX 16 series and 10 series cards, with cards like the GTX 1080, the GTX 1660, the GTX 1080 Ti, the GTX 1070, the GTX 1650, and just God knows how many other cards that were so cheap yet legendary and had an absolutely amazing price to performance and were just awesome for budget builds or just for people who were on a at least somewhat tight budget and still wanted a great gaming experience. But now these cards, I'm not saying they're bad now automatically, but what I'm trying to say is that with time they're gonna get bad and worse because there won't be any more support. And it's not like with AMD, where with AMD, you know, you have modified drivers where people even for cards which are like 10 to 20 years old, they still, you know, make their own modified or custom drivers. With Nvidia, you can't do that. And sure, if you could do that with Nvidia, I wouldn't be making this video and I wouldn't be as concerned. But you cannot do that with Nvidia, or at least as far as I know, you can't do that, or the process is a lot more different and like a million times harder. So Nvidia literally just killed these GTX series cards, and it's absolutely insane, you know. And it's just, yeah. And as I said before, these cards won't like automatically get bad or fail or anything if they don't have driver support. But with newer tech coming, these cards will slowly lose support, will become more and more unstable, and overall will probably become more vulnerable as well as a result. And it's just bad, you know. It's bad. I know it's probably not the best comparison, but at least in my opinion, like it's the same as like leaving a game like unupdated, you know, without any updates. You release a game, you don't update it at all, and yeah, well, if the game is good from the start, people will play it, and of course, you know, that won't change. with time, you know, people will get bored of the game will get exploited, a lot of different glitches will appear and hacks, and the game will become a lot more vulnerable and overall just a lot more glitchy and worse as time goes on. So the game won't get bad instantly, but as time it will get worse and worse. And I see this being the same situation as well. Nvidia canceling support for these cards does not mean that they're instantly horrible, but it just means that with time they'll get worse and worse. And it just pains me to realize that. Like, that realization pains me because of the fact that I and almost everybody else knows how awesome these cards were and still are. And it's just a shocker to me that Nvidia would cancel cards like this. It's just an absolute shocker to me. Like, why would you even do that in the first place? I mean, yeah, on one side, like I already said at the start of this video, on one side, I could guess why, you know. It's because these cards were quite old, and, you know, it could have been, you know, it was time to at least somewhat cancel support on these cards. But at the same time, they were such good cards. They sold so well, and it's just everything went so well for these cards. But no, Nvidia just had to pull the trigger. Now, what would be my solution now? What would I do if I was, let's say, I don't know, Nvidia's CEO or whatever? What I do is personally one of two things. Or I would just slightly cancel support, so like on half, meaning that, let's say, I don't know, tech support for these cards like wouldn't be up, but like, I don't know, let's say the driver support would be still up, or just like, I don't know, different kinds of like feature supports, you know, like would be gone, but like, let's say driver supports would still be going on. Or I would go on another route, similar to with AMD's community, and that is that what I simply do is just make the drivers for these cards basically freely open and freely available to anyone to modify and customize and stuff like that, so that when new drivers, modified drivers, so newer modified custom drivers made by the community can still exist, and so that even if these cards are cancelled one day, like they just were like 2 or 3 months ago, I believe, so that then the community could still at least somewhat keep these cards alive and the support for them going on. For the end of this video, I'm extremely disappointed in you, Nvidia. I really hope I truly hope, and I have at least a little bit more faith left, that stuff will maybe, hopefully, turn for the better. But as time goes on, with newer, better AMD and Intel cards, with better support, with better tech and driver support, community support, with community support being enabled as well, and with just better price to spec ratios, and just in almost every single aspect, you know, being better. It's like, yeah, this is really sad, and yeah, in my opinion, yeah, I'm just really, really disappointed. I'm not even angry or just anything similar. I'm just disappointed. Just disappointed and flabbergasted.